How do I do a drunk moutini? Moutini. 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 Not martini. Martini. Okay, I can't do it drunk, and I can't do it in Java either. This was my nice little haul from Die Steinquelle in Germany. As you can see, there's plenty of plates for me to build my next base, and the detailed corner plates, wedge plates that are very useful. And here we have the next tier, which I need to tackle. So, a base. Yeah, let's get on with it. Here we go then. I have completed, well, not completed, that's completely the wrong word. I have laid out the base of this level. And as you can see, I've added a curve there to give it, it's more than giving it interest actually, it's to miss the actual clip from the glass shelf when it appears. And that is just for interest. I think it's nice to give it a bit more shape than just a straight across. Also, that acts as a nice little parking bay for that speeder there. The rest of it, of course, will have the cantina on. So I think that works exactly as I thought. Now I just need to put some more details on and to get the jumper plates on, including some edging and various bits. It's all got to come up one level anyway, so that is the next bit. Oh yes, and of course I move the moisture evaporator over to this corner. It will leave a bit more room here for the junk that's sitting outside. It just sort of seemed the obvious thing to do. Right, carry on. So this little lot took me an evening, just working out where to put a lot of these tiles. As you can see, it looks like a random mess at the moment, but I promise you it isn't, and the buildings sit very nice on there. The speeder fits over here very nicely. I've got a bit of a shadow on this. I don't know, I guess that's off the glass door. Yeah, it's definitely off the glass door. Anyway, as you can see, it's pretty much there. Obviously that's where the droid thing sits, the droid scanner. And I've added a couple of little plants there, and I've got random bits all over the place, as I did up here. In fact, there's even more down the bottom to give it some texture and interest. That stud there holds the land speeder, quite nice. And a couple of rogue little weeds growing up. The last little bit I have to do is over here, which I am about to watch the film, or that part of the film, and see exactly what that rubbish is that's all outside. There was a big mound in the film, but I haven't got room for that, so I guess I'm just going to spread stuff out on the ground. So the guys have got to walk past it, Luke Skywalker and Obi Wan Kenobi, so there will be space here, so I guess I'll come out to here somewhere. That's the next little bit to work on, and it's pretty much finished then. I knew this level was going to be quite quick and easy, even easier than the first one, but I'm pleased because it actually means I can get this video out and get on with the next level, and then the whole unit will be filled, which is absolutely brilliant. I'm happy that this one is coming on nice and fast. The next thing I completed was this outside of the cantina. Because I've taken it apart and used just almost a quarter of it, it was all raggedy. It was just very rough. But now I have finished off this end. And it leaves me with a little bit of a dilemma, and that is, turn it around. That's the dilemma. I suppose this bit here is okay. The angle, if I leave the door open, which I think the door is open in the film, not that I would leave that hanging up there, I would take that away. But the trouble is, when I leave it open, if I left it open, you would just see nothing. When actually, there's quite a bit of detail in here, so I am thinking of leaving the door shut. It looks quite nice shut as well. I can't really add any more detail over here because it backs into the wall. The wall comes 45-degree angle across here, so that makes it very difficult. I still will put a couple of lights in here so that you can see through the windows. Just give the light really more than anything that you're going to see, because you just won't see it. I've modified a few bits on the roof. I've added another one of these little archway bits with the I don't know what you call this, the little tow bar-y bit that sticks in there. I just thought it looked nice and just finished it off as much as I can. Obviously I haven't got a brick to come across here, so yeah, I think it does the trick really. There's not much else I can do with it that's going to be suitable. This bit will be open, but you won't really see that. That's not the angle you're going to be looking at. That is this little bit of the outside of the cantina complete. It is now just, as I was saying before for the last clip, just this little bit over here that I've got to do, and then I can pile this building and the speeder and the droid scanner on the base plate. Now the figures are on, it's time to get this level out and get the shelf in so that it can go up on the correct tier. This is a delicate operation. Wow, it's held together in one piece. So it has to go in at an angle. Oh, that's right, up here. Just do the little rubber screws up to make sure it's in there properly. It's not going to slide out. Yep, that's in there solid. Okay, so I've lost an evaporator, which I can put back on. And I've lost the cantina and a droid. And guess what? I've made it too big. Wow. I've actually made it an overlap, and that is quite a few studs overlap. That is 1, 2, 3 studs overlap, I believe that is. I really didn't think that when I was building it down here on the base. So that is a total boo-boo by me. Well, I'm going to have to reduce this now. Go back to the drawing board and finish this off. Wow, wow, wow. Didn't expect this. I was expecting this to be the end, but there we go. The show must go on, and I must get this down to its correct size. I'll catch up with you very soon. Well, this is the result of my screw up, if you like. And that is, yeah, I've had to basically restart the base again. I mean, not completely, but I would say over 50%. I've had to strip it back. Had to come in this way by 2 studs and that way by 3 studs. I really can't believe how I've made such a mistake. It is basically building it in this bottom tier, which you get the difference of this part here and again out this way here, so you get it both sides. So I won't make that mistake again. I've also shortened this by about 3 studs, I think it was. So that took a lot of remodeling. I took the base off because it wouldn't fit in, and I've added some of these other ones which are 8x8s, are they? Yeah, I think they are. And everything else is just a complete and utter mess at the moment, as you can see. So it is really putting all the pieces back together and making something that resembled what it was. Anyway, on with the show. Well, I've put it all back together and it's worked out okay. It's shorter, it's smaller, and because of that, the figures have less spaces to roam, if you like, if they do roam anywhere. For example, this little droid here, he's just seen wandering across the foreground as you look through the film. I've had to put him waiting patiently by the droid scanning machine with the drunk Jawas looking on. That was pretty much the same. And if we go along, the building has become shorter, and this proved a little bit trickier to connect this dewback enclosure where he drinks and eats, because obviously everything was shrunk by 3 studs, but I've made it work. These guys are more or less in the same position, I guess. Obi Wan, Luke, R2-D2 and C3PO. I think that's come out okay. I quite like it actually, where he comes almost right to the edge of the display here. I think that looks quite good, with their heads sort of looking at each other, chatting about what they might find in the cantina. 3PO and R2-D2 are bumbling along behind these guys, as we know, but they won't be allowed in the cantina. They'll have to go and wait outside. And then we got this randomer who's walking towards, I guess this is his speeder in this scenario here. He's coming back to it after having done his shopping in town, maybe. And then right in the background, this little guy is hiding over the junk pile. Now, he was behind the speeder around here, but I couldn't get him back in there. So I think he looks quite good hiding amongst the junk pile there. And yeah, that junk pile has sort of moved a bit forward. I've just rearranged it very slightly, but I think it works quite well, especially with that Jawa in there. But I think that wasn't too costly. It cost me an evening of my time, that mistake, but I think it's come out quite nice. Not sure whether it was any better or any worse than before. Obviously, we got less space. I do like these cut-out bits. I have it on the one up here, and I think it works quite nice. Gives it something just a little bit extra, not just squared off everywhere. And the corners, because I can't get this clip bit in, I can't go right to the edge. I suppose I could work it around it, but I think it works quite well with rounded corners or the these type of cut-off corners. So either way, yeah, look, there's plenty of room in there. And I don't like it going right to the edge anyway. I think it keeps it in line with my other Tantive mock. I did think to myself I could use a second dewback here instead of this speeder. But again, going back to the reason why I want to do this, I want to use the set. That's the whole point. I like the set. I just want to break it up into a different way of displaying it and improve on it if possible. Well, there's always ways to improve on things, but not change masses, just little tweaks here and there. I love the sets. It's just what I like to do with things. And I think you can really get a sense of, I'm using the set as much as possible here. So yeah, there was a second dewback that come into the scene. Also, there was some sort of hairy monster that was there originally, or next to him here, so obviously that wouldn't have fit any of the big other creatures they do. I'm just happy to get as much of this set into this scene as possible, and I think it's come out rather well, to be honest. I just hope I can get the internals as good looking as these externals. Forgot to show you these little guys and how I put them on their very small feet sitting down. That's an easier way to show you because they break off. They're just headlight bricks. Obviously you've got the bit sticking out the back, but here it doesn't matter because they're sitting against the wall. Not right against the wall. Otherwise they wouldn't fit in with that stud. But they are sitting back there, so you do not see behind them. But that's worked out rather nice, I think, with those, because obviously those mini legs you can't bend at all. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video of making this second tier of my Cantina mock, then please do remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And there will be tier number 3, which is now completely empty. That will be coming very soon. So thanks very much, everyone. Cheers.